The snowy roads can be treacherous enough for your car or mine, but it can be even more dangerous for emergency vehicles. I'm Chris Warner with what special steps first responders take to make sure they stay safe on the road.
Plus, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office is using a program started to address the pandemic in a new way, how it helped folks during this week's winter storm. And data showing how the Great Resignation is having an especially large impact on one demographic.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We begin tonight with some breaking news. A 70-year-old woman is dead after a train hit a car in Asbury, Missouri. This is KOAM News at 10. The Missouri Highway Patrol says a car got stuck in a snowdrift over the tracks at Oak Street. The victim stayed in the car while others pushed, but when she saw the oncoming train, she got out of the car. She didn't get far enough away in time. The train hit the car and the car hit the woman. Authorities are not yet releasing the victim's name. Doug Heddy joins us with a first look at the weather.
Even though we got some sunshine outside today and we melted off about 2 inches, which I know a lot of people think that's odd when you don't hit freezing, the sun still warms the ground up, even though the air temperature may be colder, but at least we melted off some snow. Now, we do still have especially a lot of side roads that are slick. We're going to get some fog building in tonight, so be careful if you are going to be out, of course, but we don't have to worry about anything falling from the sky. Pretty much clear skies across the entire Central Plains. Temperatures backing down. We're into the upper teens. I don't think we'll be quite as cold as what we got to last night. We dropped down to 6, but I do think we'll drop back to about 8 or 10 degrees. The winds a little breezy out there, so a little bit of a wind chill. Wind chill factors are sitting kind of in the mid-teens across the region. By morning, about 10, 19 by 9, 32 by noon. Warmer, up to 38. We're going to look at the rest of the weekend and next week here in just a bit.
See you then. Although the snow has stopped falling in its wake, it's left a number of roads covered and dangerous. As KOAM's Chris Warner explains, that danger is amplified for first responders.
It's difficult to appreciate the size of an ambulance unless you're right next to one. Even this video doesn't do it justice. It's that size, shape, and weight that Jason Smith says makes them tough to drive in the snow.
The ambulances are very top heavy, so not only with the road conditions being a factor when we get the high wind with it like we had a night or two ago, can also make it challenging.
When it snows, changes are made to how they respond to emergency calls, like their speed, among other things.
A lot of time the other motorists, when they see the lights and sirens, they feel like they're forced to, veer off one side or the other. And so we want to be able to get to the call in a timely manner, but we also have to be safe doing it and make sure that we account for the safety of the other motorists that are on the road.
Smith says they also use four-wheel drive vehicles and have a great partnership with fire crews.
All the local fire departments are extremely supportive and helpful as far as even when it comes to just maneuvering the cot through the snow, sometimes is a challenge. So all of these guys are great to get out and, help us do that.
Now, to those fire crews. Fire trucks, like ambulances, are big, heavy, and tough to drive in the snow, even with four-wheel drive. So Leif Hasty says they've made changes too.
It takes a lot longer to stop the bigger apparatus for sure. The smaller apparatus are just as dangerous though. So we actually take it to where you see people running lights and sirens often. We don't. Whenever this stuff's on the ground, we tend to take the lights and sirens out of the equation.
They also slow down, which impacts response times. Another factor impacting those times, having to change routes in rural areas.
So we have to keep in mind that our response may change as far as the direction and the destination. So we usually have set response pathways that we take. And right now, with the way the roads are, you have to change that up.
In Joplin and Reddings Mill, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Hasty adds they're grateful to road crews who have been out clearing the road since this all started, trying to make first responders' job easier. For people who don't want to risk being out on the road, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office has a solution. The Cherokee County Cares program started at the beginning of the pandemic as a way to help people get things like groceries and prescriptions. The Sheriff's Office says they've decided to keep the program in place, and they remind people they can help when the roads are slick.
So we were able to partner with a lot of area pharmacies and grocery stores to help meet the needs of those folks who couldn't get out to, or didn't feel safe to get out to get those necessity items. And so now it's just kind of continued over the last couple of years, and with the winter storm warning that we had and the treacherous road conditions, we wanted to remind people that this offer still stands.
Sheriff Groves reminds Cherokee County residents that they should not hesitate to call and to stay off the roads unless necessary. The winter storm is now bearing down on the East Coast. Several 100,000 homes and businesses remain without power tonight as heavy snow knocked down tree limbs and power lines from Texas to Ohio. Parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and New England got more than a foot of snow, while icy roads remain the biggest threat for travelers. Laura Podesta reports.
The big freeze isn't ready to release its powerful grip on Texas.
Most of the state will continue to experience sub-freezing temperatures for a few more nights.
Frozen and slippery roads in Fort Worth made it nearly impossible for these drivers to stay on course along this off-ramp. On Friday, the storm moved east. Roads in Boston and throughout the region became icy with sub-freezing temperatures taking hold.
A lot of spinouts today. It's just such a hard thing for the crews to keep up with.
New York's governor urged people to avoid going outside.
The storm is throwing everything at us. We have snow, we have freezing rain, we have sleet, we have icy roads.
Elsewhere, this tree, believed to be some 2 centuries old, came crashing down on the garage of a Lexington, Kentucky home.
How many different ways this tree could have come down on our house, on our neighbor with her baby.
Firefighters helped a tenant escape through a window, reportedly without injury. Thousands were left without power after an ice storm pounded Memphis. Streets all around the area displayed the storm's might, and those hoping to visit Elvis Presley's home have to wait at least another day after Graceland canceled tours Friday because of the weather. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The National Weather Service says the storm will slowly pull away from the northeast through early tomorrow with a gradual end to the wintry precipitation. But vast parts of the region, along with the southern plains and Ohio Valley, are in for more bitterly cold temperatures. The opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics kicked off today in Beijing. With China hosting the games, there's been controversy surrounding human rights abuses. Organizers of the opening ceremony hope to ignore the politics and broadcast to the world their vision and theme for the games, Together for a Shared Future. The games themselves have already been underway for a couple of days now. Still ahead, COVID-19 deaths creep closer to 1 million as federal officials issue an official recommendation for Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. And the Great Recession has had a greater impact on one demographic. We'll look at the numbers. A sobering milestone in the COVID-19 pandemic. More than 900,000 people in the U.S. have died of the disease. That's according to new data from Johns Hopkins University. Experts believe the true number is much higher. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimate that between February of 2020 and September of 2021, the number of COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. were actually more than 30% higher. The CDC reports unvaccinated adults have 97 times greater risk of dying from COVID-19 than adults who are fully vaccinated and boosted. More than 3/4 of U.S. COVID-19 fatalities have been in those over the age of 65. The U.S. accounts for about 16% of global COVID-19 deaths. That's more than any other nation. Vaccine advisors to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention voted to support recommending the 2-dose Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. It received full approval from the Food and Drug Administration earlier this week for use in adults. More than 200 million doses of the Moderna vaccine have been administered already in the United States. There's no difference between this fully approved vaccine and the one that was previously available through emergency use authorization. Confusion over the efficacy of masks has been an issue since the beginning of the pandemic. For example, early on, the U.S. Surgeon General had to delete a tweet in which he said masks weren't effective for the general public. Eventually, it became clear that masks do work to some degree, but that cloth and surgical masks aren't very effective. That's supported by a new study from the California Department of Public Health. It found that people who said they wear N95 respirators indoors were about 80% less likely to test positive for COVID-19 than those who never wore masks inside. Those who said they wore surgical masks indoors were roughly 60% less likely to test positive than those who didn't wear masks. In all, the study found that consistently wearing a mask indoors cuts the odds in half for testing positive for COVID-19. The researchers admit the study did have significant limitations. The study was done before the Omicron variant, so mask efficacy for Omicron isn't known. It also didn't take into account that testing negative may have been because of protective behaviors that had nothing to do with masking, for example, social distancing. While today's jobs report shows a robust labor market, a record number of workers quit their jobs in 2021. That's according to a new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which found 4.3 million Americans quit in December alone. The latest numbers come as data shows Latinas are exiting the workforce at higher rates than any other demographic, and that has economists worried. UCLA's Latino Policy and Politics Initiative found that between March of 2020 and March of 2021, the number of Latinas in the workforce dropped by nearly 3%. Researchers say many lost jobs and others left to focus on family needs, citing lack of child care support exacerbated COVID-19.
Some of our most insightful and critical workers are going to be left out of the labor force, and it's going to be detrimental to all Americans.
The January unemployment rate rose to 4%. This is the first time the jobless rate increased since June of 2021. Amazon is increasing its Prime membership prices for the first time in 3 years. The company announced the hike for its Prime members in the U.S. due to rising costs. Monthly membership will go from $12.99 to $14.99, while annual subscriptions will increase $20. The changes will be effective for new members on February 18th. Existing members will see the increase on the date of their next renewal after March 25th. Later, the Missouri Southern women look to avenge an early season loss to Central Missouri. What the Lions think they've learned from the last matchup.
Plus, we're hoping temperatures are warm enough this weekend to continue to melt off some snow. We are going to have some fog tonight. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be at least a little bit warmer for us today. It's still cold. We only went into the upper 20s, but the sun, it really psychologically makes it feel so much better. And snow does not like sun. It likes to melt in the sun. So we melted off, I would say, 1.5 to 2 inches for us today. We did get an additional inch early this morning. We had a pretty good band of snow from about 10 p.m. until about 2:30 in the morning. That dropped about 1/2 inch before midnight, then 1 inch after midnight. That was the top coating, and all that's gone. For the season, so if we add in our 3 events, we had the sleet on Wednesday morning. We had about 6 inches of snow on Thursday morning, and then the additional snow. So this whole event, at least for Joplin's, 8 inches. This season, we're at 12.5. 12 is our average, so we've already passed our 25-year average snowfall for a season, which is 12 inches. It used to be 16, 17 inches, but as snow continues to drop over the years. All right, 7 to 10, near 10 in Springfield, near 10 in Cassville, Northwest Arkansas, about 8 or 9. So 7 to 10 all the way down to Tulsa. Tulsa got 7.5 inches. And then 5 to 7 on the Kansas side. The lesser amounts were in our northwestern counties, Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Fredonia, and the others say 3, 4, 5 inches. All right, look at our temps last night. It was cold. We were down to about 6. We warmed up, upper 20s during the afternoon. Now we are dropping back off. Most of us are sitting upper teens across the region. And I think we'll drop back to about 8 or 10 later on tonight. All right, westerly winds light at about 5 to 10, but still a little bit of a wind chill out there. Makes it feel a little bit colder than what it is. Wind chill factors make it feel like it's in the teens right now. And as we go through the rest of the overnight hours, pretty much clear skies. I do think we're going to build in some fog due to that melting. So we're going to have fog over the next couple nights with the winds fairly light. So that moisture in that lower level of the atmosphere will produce some fog. But besides that, nothing falling from the sky. Pretty much clear skies, weak little wave, northern parts of Montana, no big storm systems out across the western third of the country, we actually hit a pretty nice calm stretch in the pattern, which we deserve. All right, patchy fog for us tonight. We warm up upper 30s tomorrow, which is going to be nice. It's still kind of chilly, but better than what we've been. 32 by noon, high temp at 38. Tomorrow night, a little bit of patchy fog builds back in once again. And then as we go into Sunday, partly sunny skies, we go into the upper 30s for afternoon highs. Monday looks pretty good, 40s, but check this out. By Tuesday into Wednesday, we rebound back into the 50s for highs. In fact, most of next week is going to be into the 50s. We don't have any big storm systems around the corner. If you are wondering when is our next chance for thunderstorms, ice, and snow, 14 days. So the weekend of kind of 18th, 19th, that range. So that late Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that's when our next shot is for severe weather and then ending with snow. But at least this weekend, next week look good. Upper 30s this weekend, 50s next week.
2 weeks, that's pretty far out.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Lots of folks need help shoveling all the snow at home at the moment. Students with College Heights Christian School in Joplin are providing that help. The school put together snow removal teams. 6 crews, each with about 3 people or more, are going around shoveling for folks who don't have the means to do it themselves. Volunteer says they're inspired by their faith to help their neighbor.
I heard this and wanted to hop at it. It's been a long 2 years with the pandemic and everything and things being shut down, and it feels good to get out and do something for my community and help out.
College Heights will be at it again tomorrow. You can make a request directly through their Instagram page. Coming up in sports, the Missouri Southern women prepare for a rematch against Central Missouri. And McCallie and Lamar square off for a spot in the Mercy Warrior Classic Championship. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Tonight is semifinal night at the Mercy Warrior Classic at McCallie Catholic High School. On the girls' side, the tournament host Warriors are in the Final Four after beating Blue Jacket in the first round earlier this week. McCallie facing another local team in the Lamar Tigers. The winner of this one moves on to face Providence in the championship game. A fast start for the Tigers off the steal of Josie Adams to Xavier Wiss for 2. She finishes with 11. Then Adams stepping out, hitting the 3. 20-8 Tigers after 1. They were up double digits at halftime. Chloe Williamson, really good game tonight. Straight to the basket. She gets a game high 17. McCallie really played well outside of that first quarter. Kennedy Dury to Avery Emminger. Emminger adds 10, but Lamar's early lead too much to overcome. Adams sinks another 3 here. She leads the Tigers with 12 points. Lamar wins it 55-40 to advance to the tournament championship.
Our game plan was to come out and use our speed that we had. We knew we were a little bit faster, quicker than them, so we executed the game plan really well from the first quarter to the very last quarter. We knew we had to contain their good guard number 15, and I thought we did a really good job on her. My big girl came in and got in some foul trouble that first quarter, and I thought our bench play came in and played really good for us tonight. So it was overall just a great team effort from everyone.
On the boys' side, Thomas Jefferson and College Heights meeting in the semifinals earlier today for a spot in the championship game. In the first, it's Ethan Meeks getting to the basket for 2. Kind of a slow start. Cougars trail by 1 at half. TJ here, Drew Goodhope knocks down the uncontested 3. Cavaliers up 7. But the Cougars able to get back in at final minute of the third. Ethan Adele sinks it from the corner. Back to a 1-score game. Then College Heights would dominate the fourth. Miller Long gets his own rebound. Puts it back in for 2, then back to Meeks. In off the glass here. Meeks scores 16 for College Heights. But the points leader for the Cougars with 17, that guy right there, Curtis Davenport. Straight to the rim there. College Heights comes back to win it 64-53. The Cougars face Providence in the championship game on Saturday.
You come into the tournament, you always want to make it a championship game, and for a while there looked like we weren't going to get there, but we seemed to find a way. We played Providence first game of the season back in November, and they beat us in their place, so we was looking for a matchup back with them. It'd be a very good game for us tomorrow night. They're a very good team, and So hopefully this game, woke us up a little bit and said, hey, you got to play well all the time.
The Missouri Southern Lions are on the road this weekend, facing Central Missouri for a conference doubleheader tomorrow. On the women's side, the Lions are aiming to stay hot heading into the weekend on a 7-game winning streak. Now, this will be the second time these two teams have played. Back in December, the Jennies beat the Lions in Joplin 68-64, outscoring Southern 17-6 in the final 5 minutes. Now, that one was a learning experience for a young Southern team. They're hoping to take those lessons and flip the script tomorrow in Warrensburg.
There were some missed opportunities that we had. We did some things that we've grown and gotten better at. I think offensively, we're a much better team than we were back in December. And I know defensively, we're a much better team. Ready to take that next step, as we've been doing all year. That's what we talked about, is taking the next step. And Central Missouri is our next step, so we're excited about that opportunity.
Finally, indoor track and field today. Missouri Southern hosting the Lion Open and multi-events. Southern wins the weight throw on both the men's and women's sides, with Mallory Huber, Josh Fulmer posting NCAA Division II provisional qualifying marks. Precious Olatunji wins the long jump for Southern, while Terrence Jackson, Carthage High School product, takes second in the men's long jump. And the meet continues tomorrow with heptathlon events beginning at 11 a.m. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Staff Sergeant Harry Samuels served in the U.S. Army. He's from Thayer, Kansas. And we're proud to salute Staff Sergeant Harry Samuels, tonight's 4th state hero. We're going to get above freezing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. It's still below where we should be for this time of the year, but it looks so much better than what we've seen the past couple days. So we're going to do some serious melting. We'll probably melt 2 or 3 inches tomorrow, 2 or 3 more by Sunday, and then long gone, except piles left on Monday.
Final sports notes.
Big day of college basketball tomorrow. Pitt State at Lincoln, Missouri Southern at Central Missouri. Of course, we'll have the latest on both of those right here tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us. Be careful out there, and let's make it a great weekend.
Service is provided by the